Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Jins Matthew. Today I'm going to introduce a new topic called learned helplessness. What is learned helplessness? Learned helplessness is a mental framework people develop after a long, prolonged duration in a stressful condition. In other words, a person who happened to be in a stressful condition, a disadvantageous condition for a longer time, and whether he takes steps to get out of it or not taking steps out of it, in that particular situation, the person develops a mental framework that is called learned helplessness. You might have heard about there are two types of locus of control. A control where it is located. Okay, the first one is internal locus of control. People who have internal locus of control, they feel within themselves that I can control my situations. Whatever the stressful situation, whatever the problems in my life, whatever the problems in my relationship, I have the control. I can handle it. I am the controller. That is what internal locus of control. On the opposite, the external locus of control, people think that whatever the stressful situation I am facing now, whatever the problems I have it in my life, the control is in the hands of others, in the hands of situation, in the hands of God. So I beg everyone, can you help me, can you help me, because the control over this situation is not in me, that I attribute on others. That is called external locus of control. And people who have this learned helplessness mental framework, they always have got a external locus of control. How do we identify people with learned helplessness? People with learned helplessness, they will have a low self-esteem. Their motivation level will be very low. They easily give up in situations where they find stressful. They are very pessimistic. They easily get frustrated. Learned helplessness in itself is not a mental disorder classified in ICD or DSM, but definitely this particular mental framework, learned helplessness, that can lead to depression and anxiety like major mental disorders later. People having this particular mental framework, learned helplessness, they are identified to have three main deficits. One is cognitive deficit. What is cognitive deficit? It is all connected with thoughts. They think that I cannot control, this situation cannot change, and this situation is something here and nobody can change. That is called cognitive deficit. Then the second one comes the motivational deficit. Due to the first one, the cognitive deficit, they do not have any motivation because nobody can change it. I cannot change it. This situation cannot be changed. They are not motivated to change that particular negative, stressful situation in their life. And the third one is emotional deficit. Because of that stressful condition they are facing, they are into, they feel low within themselves, they feel depressed, they feel sad, and thereby they do not have any motivation, and again in the vicious circle they have a cognitive deficit. Seligman and Stephen, they have described two types of major helplessness in their theory. One is universal helplessness, which means the problems I am facing, the stressful situation I am into, nobody have a control over it. Neither I have a control, nor others have a control. Even God cannot have a control over it. Nobody can change it. It is my fate. That is what universal helplessness. On the other hand, personal helplessness. People think that I cannot have a control over it. I cannot change anything into it. But if he wants, or if she wants, if God wants, they can change it. Though I do not have a control, though I am not able to make even a single move or single change in this condition, others can change it. That is called personal helplessness. You might have heard about classical conditioning and operant conditioning theories in psychology. If you not heard about it, you can just log into this particular channel. I have made video about classical conditioning and operant conditioning. These are the two theories platform where this learned helplessness concept has evolved from. And Seligman and Stevens worked much about experimenting what is learned helplessness and different aspects of learned helplessness. Seligman and Sion, what they did is they started experiment with dogs like Pavlov. And what he did is there were three conditions. Three conditions. In one cage, dog was placed with a harness belt and there was no shock. That was a control group. And there were two experimental groups. In the two experimental groups, dog was put on the stable with a harness belt, and the dog was introduced with a minute electric stimulations, and the dog gets anxious and he was very uncomfortable, and just in front of him there was a lever. If the dog wanted, he could press it, and at the moment the lever is pressed, the electricity used to cut off. And after repetition, the dog learned to escape from the electric electricity pass into his cage by pressing the lever. And the third one was that there was electricity pass on, but there was no lever, there was no button. The dog was not able to escape from that particular situation. He used to get all that electric stimulation on his body. He had no option to escape. And in the second stages of experiment, these three groups of dogs, they were put in one cage, a cage specially designed. There are two boxes, and in between there was a hurdle like barrier, not completely closed. If the dog wanted, he could jump into the other cage, and dog was put on first cage, and their electricity was passed on. And in the control group dog, where there was no electricity, no lever pressing, nothing, that dog got panic by the by getting that electric shock, and this dog, he became panic and he jumped into the other case. There was no electricity. Dog was very happy, he escaped from the electricity. In the second stage, the electricity was passed on. The dog searched for the lever, there was no lever, but the dog had an idea he can escape from that situation. He jumped up and down and jumped into the other cage. He escaped from the electric shock. But whereas this is the most important part, the third group, where the dog had no option to escape, that dog was put in the cage and electricity was passed on, and the dog became, the dog didn't become panic. The dog became freeze, and the dog mental structure was, I cannot have a control over this situation. I am supposed to face it. Okay, after some time it will go off. Until then, let me be like this. The dog did not make any attempt to jump out of that cage. This is the most interesting part of this experiment, and there they developed a concept called learned helplessness. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this particular video, please don't forget to press the like button. And if you would like to continue this type of videos which I am making about human behavior, mental disorders, and animal behaviors, animal training, if you would like to continue watch, please press the subscribe button. You'll get all the videos that I am updating. We'll see next time with another video. Bye bye.